Hi everyone, I am happy to see you again. So far we have discussed number of tests in concrete regarding the specimen oriented test. For a hardened concrete there are different types of tests which could be done as a specimen, and you can go into a particular site and you can do a test for identifying the strength of the concrete. So regarding that, let us discuss what are the in situ testing methods of a concrete. First we will discuss core test. These are the tests which is going to be done in the site. You have to go to the site where you have casted a concrete, whatever standard you are intended. So you are going to check the standard in strength wise as well as durability. Generally, durability aspect needs a in situ test. Now let us discuss core test principle. Here what you are doing is an existing concrete structure. Obviously for a larger structure you can do a core test. How it is conducted? There is a rotary drill. You can see this picture. There is a rotary drill here. This will rotate and it will penetrate into the concrete surface. This is the concrete surface. It will penetrate into the concrete surface, and you can cut that, you can remove this part by using this equipment. After removing, you can see a cylindrical specimen is being arrived as a sample. This is a sample which is taken on the exact structure which you are going to identify the strength or durability of a structure. Here they will use rotary cutting tool, that is diamond bits is being used, and cylindrical specimen is being arrived through this test. This will give you a visually described and a photograph of the distribution of aggregates and presence of steel. After cutting the sample, you have to soak in the water with molten sulfur so that the end plates parallel at right angle and then tested to the compression. You can make a compression test. There are list of tests you can do by using the core test. The application of this test can be, if you want to identify durability aspect of a concrete, that is a permeability, chemical analysis such as sulfur attack, chloride attack and carbonation. These are the durability oriented aspect. So you can exactly measure the depth of carbonation and the depth of other acid attacks by using this sample. It is a very good method for identifying this oriented durability aspect. And degree of compaction. So when we are casting a concrete as a sample, and if we identify the strength of the sample, that may differ with the exact strength of a concrete which we casted in the site. Why? Because the degree of compaction which will be different. Now if we are making a sample cube, there are number of blows to be compacted for each and every layer. We will follow certain procedure, but in exact site the degree of compaction might vary at certain area. And curing standard. The conventional specimen is being cured under the water, so it will be 100% cured with the respective sample. When the actual case, the curing might not be that much sufficient, so that there will be a loss of strength. Generally this oriented test, after conducting the test, it is found that the strength of the exact specimen versus the specimen which we are taking as a cubical mold has a plus or minus 15% of variation due to this change. Here the honeycombing and segregation while compaction can also be identified by this test. Large pavement, you can identify the tensile force taken by the pavement by using the core test. Here it is a table. You can see that this is age in days, and there are two comparison, which is standard cylinder and a core test. In standard cylinder, you can see the strength of the concrete is 66, and if you are taking a core specimen, you can see the reduction of the strength. This is why, because due to the variations such as degree of compaction, curing standard, uniformity of concrete, etc. So due to this effect, generally the core test value is lesser when compared at 28 days standard cylinder test. You can see the difference in terms of proportion. Now there is a certain limitations. There is a diameter to height ratio when compared to standard cylinder, that is 150 mm by 300 mm is the standard size of a cylinder. We will not be exactly cutting this cylinder 150 mm by 300 mm. This height to diameter ratio varies according to the rotary drill. So this will not match, so that there is a variation between the strength of sample versus the exact structure. If a high steel percentage is there in a structure, then the core test, which is quite difficult to conduct and to identify the other parameters. And also the structural integrity, if you are taking some part of a concrete in a structure, then the integrity of the structure is being reduced. So this is also a part that you should consider. These are the limitations of the concrete core test. Next, we will look into rebound hammer test. This test was developed in 1948. It is used to identify the strength of the concrete. The rebound hammer test, in the name you can understand there will be a mass inside the equipment. By this mass, if you strike any structure, the mass will rebound. If you strike the concrete equipment by using this rebound hammer, there will be an equal and opposite force which is being created by the surface. And next, the value which is being taken by this test is being identified by the rebound hardness number or rebound index. So you will be getting a value after conducting a test. This value is being taken and there is a graph in that equipment. So you have to compare with that value with the graph, so that you will get the compressive strength of the concrete. This will give an idea about uniformity of a concrete. You can see this is a rebound hammer equipment. There is a plunger here, and the plunger is being attached by the rod. This rod is being attached with the catch clip here, and whenever you strike this, so initially before striking, the equipment will be in this position. There is a plunger and a spring which is being connected, and a hammer is here. So this is the mass element, and there is an indicator, there is a graduated scale to identify the amount of force which is being rebounded, and this is the body. When you strike with this plunger, the plunger gets inserted to the equipment, and after you have struck, the whole mass will be striking the spring component which is there inside. So here you can see a spring component here. This mass will strike the spring, and due to the striking force, due to the force which caused by this concrete structure, if stronger the concrete, the more mass will be striking on the spring. So according to this striking force, we will get the rebound number in this rebound scale. After that, after striking you have to press this release button, and if you press that, automatically you will be having the value of rebound number in this scale. So after getting this number, you can correlate with the values which is indicated in this equipment. So there are certain limitations for conducting this equipment for this test. The thing is, you will be getting plus or minus 15 to 20% of variation of exact strength. This is because due to the certain limitations. If the surface is very rough, then the values will not be that much credential to take into an account. If the surface is very smooth, then you will get a better reading while taking this test. The age of specimen and moisture condition. If the concrete is a moisture, if you have more water inside the concrete, naturally the strength of the concrete is being reduced. So this will be generally giving a better result for a dry concrete. Next we will look on to penetration technique. This test is being developed during 1954 by the Windsor pore testing machine. This machine is generally used to identify the amount of resistance which is being developed by the concrete. This equipment is being forced by a piston inside the concrete. So due to the penetration of the needle, the strength of the concrete is being identified proportionally. If more the penetration, the lesser will be the strength of the concrete. And the accuracy of this test lies between plus or minus 25% by conducting this test. Here you can see a digital penetrometer. After penetrating by this needle, you will be having a depth of penetration. So this is the needle, and after the penetration you will be having certain exposed length. By this exposed length you can identify the strength of the member. So there is a graph here which identifies the compressive strength of a cylinder. You can measure the compressive strength by using the values which you got through the penetration test. So the exposed length, you have to correlate with the values here. So there are certain places which you can use this test for a particular reason. In case of bigger structure like a pavement or retaining wall, the structure need not be discarded. Here this is opposite to the penetration test. What you are going to do here is, say for example, if you are having a material, this is the concrete material, you are going to insert a plunger here. This plunger is being inserted, and the amount of force which is required to pull the concrete surface, which is being calculated, and more the force is required, more the strength of the structure. So similarly you can identify the strength of a concrete by using the pull-out test. The dimensions are here. A 25 mm of a disc is being inserted to a depth of 25 mm from the surface, and the amount of force which will be required to take off the disc from the surface. And the applications are to determine the in situ compressive strength of a concrete. And this is an important application where post tensioning operation for bridges, where you have to do a post tensioning work, you have to know the exact strength of a member in order to go for post tensioning. Here this test can be used for post tensioning of work in a concrete, and removal of forms and shores based on the actual in situ strength. So this also can be used for removal of props for the form work, and you can identify the approximate strength. It can be used for testing a repaired concrete section. This is a graph which identifies the pull-out force versus the compressive strength. The value which you arrived during the pull-out test can be correlated with the compressive strength. The more the force which is required, you will be having more the compressive strength. So this is a graph to identify the value. And in last, we will be discussing ultrasonic pulse velocity test. So this is a test which will give, the principle behind the test is, we will be sending a wave, ultrasonic pulse velocity wave, from one transducer. This is a transducer. From one end we will be sending the wave which has the intensity of 50 to 54 kilohertz. So there will be a concrete member in between these two transducer. The amount of time which is required to transfer the pulse velocity from one side to the other side. So after the transmitting the ultrasonic pulse wave, you will be receiving through the other end. So the time travel which will be identified here to measure the concrete strength, as well as other parameters such as crack identification and pores and heterogeneity. These are the things which can be identified. Also an important factor which is known as dynamic modulus of elasticity. So these properties can be identified by using the ultrasonic pulse velocity test. The depth of crack you can identify. These are the applications for conducting the ultrasonic pulse velocity test. You can identify uniformity of a concrete, strength of a concrete, and durability aspect. You can identify the dynamic modulus of elasticity, also crack and cover of a concrete. The exact 15 mm or 20 mm cover which is being given by the design, but in a practical field, some areas we might not be able to follow the cover. If we are following that cover, you can identify by using the ultrasonic pulse velocity test. Also, the depth of the crack can be identified from the surface. So this is a table which gives a value of the general condition of ultrasonic pulse velocity test. Note here that it gives a qualitative analysis of a concrete. So you can say that either the concrete is excellent, good, questionable, poor, or very poor. These are the qualitative aspect. So we cannot identify the exact numerical value of a concrete. So this is one of the limitation of the test. You can correlate with other tests to identify the exact strength. If the pulse velocity which is measured by conducting this test is 4575 or more, then it is called as an excellent material, and it reduces linearly. After that, you can see 2135. If the concrete has the pulse velocity of 2135 and lesser, then the concrete which is very poor. Like that, you can identify the quality condition of a concrete. So there are certain limitations for conducting this test. The first one is the path length. If more the length, we need a higher grade of ultrasonic pulse velocity testing equipment. Then the presence of reinforcement and moisture content. These are the certain elements which gives the limitations. So right now I have discussed the important test for strength and durability part of a concrete. I hope you would have gained some knowledge through this discussion. Happy learning. Thank you. See you again.